Yes. So this is Guido from the Gold Trainers. You're listening, you're watching the True Potential Show. Today, our guest is Kevin Barry from kevinconsults.com. Kevin, you're a business coach and you're helping people fulfill their life's purpose, to say it very wide. But thank you so much for being here. Tell me, man, how are you today?
Thanks for having me, man. I'm doing pretty good. I actually just came off of a coaching session with one of my clients, just here to this interview. So I'm feeling good, feeling fulfilled. Very excited to talk to someone like you about what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, exactly, man. And let's say the first time I met you was also digital, and was when you just were starting out, right? You were having an agency, you were hosting an agency for restaurants. Was that the first agency that you had?
Yeah. So when I first really got into business and like the first thing I was ever doing to make money online was helping restaurants create like content on Instagram and do social media marketing. And that's how I believe we originally networked a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And all the way from there, right? Like business coaches are quite like common for some people, right? So how do you stand out in the crowd?
Yeah. So when I first got into business, I was also doing an online business, which was social media marketing. And I was going to like restaurants and people who were just like in the town I lived in, and just trying to sell them on like, yeah, make an Instagram, make Facebook ads so you can get more people to come in and eat your salad or something like that. And that experience was good in the sense that like it showed me how I can like see business opportunity just like in my day-to-day life.
Hmm.
But what it lacked is it wasn't fulfilling in the sense that like restaurant owners and getting people into restaurants does not necessarily fulfill me on a level of meaning. It may give me like, more money than I have working at Starbucks or something, but I don't feel like I'm making a genuine impact. So like what I do personally at kevinconsults.com is I help coaches, consultants, course creators, um, basically anyone who is taking expertise that they've developed over their lifetime of, within like something they're interested in and something that they're good at, and then helping them take that expertise and that knowledge they already have and helping them transform it into a business where they can help people who are also passionate about that thing, so that they can make money fulfilling their impact, and I can make money helping people understand like what fulfills them and finding people that they can share to,
Hmm.
um, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man, for sure. And like people that uh, let's say like you don't just work with anyone, right? Like you told me last time, like I don't want to like just work for the money anymore, and I did that for a while. So how does that work?
Right. So like I said, like when I was working with the restaurants and social media marketing, um, these were people that had never really used the internet before, and they just had started a small family business that they never really had big plans with.
Hmm.
So when I went in, there was always like a lot of like miscommunication and not understanding each other because our goals were very different. Where I
Yeah,
was like,
exactly.
I have the capabilities of my marketing to like make you the biggest restaurant in the country. They were like, oh, we just want 10 more customers. So that way we can like retire in like a couple of years. And it's like, that's fine. That's totally fine. But we were coming from different angles. And so
Hmm.
to answer your question, Guido, like where I come from now, my business is like, I only want to work with people that have a share and have like an understanding of, of values.
Yeah.
So, I really value, um, creating impact, helping people, Tony Robbins style, helping people become healthier, helping people become wealthier, more success in their business, helping people with their relationships and understanding what's good for them and also understanding who they are, things that are like evergreen and everlasting through life. Um, and so whenever I want to work with someone, like a client I signed on just a couple months ago, her name is Kara Michelle, and she helps women like conquer their minds. so that way they can start living life of their dreams. She's a life coach for women, and she comes at it from like a meditation and like quantum physics, Eastern perspective. And when she first came to me wanting to work with me, I thought her niche was so cool. And I could see that with the couple of clients she already had, she was making a really amazing impact with these people's lives. She was helping women who were like stuck in anxiety, like alone in their rooms, to moving to India and starting like a dog charity, and like also like becoming entrepreneurs or getting out of their toxic relationships and like finding healthier ones by getting to know themselves. And so, you know, I really love helping people find what makes them passionate, and then helping them clarify that passion into like an offer, into an online business they can start running today. So that way they can get paid to like share their gift with the world. So to speak.
Yeah. And then they can do more of it.
Exactly. They can do more of it. They can help more people. And I just get to have my honor as being a part of that domino effect with helping people find that passion, scale the message of that passion, and get their business out there to the market. So that way waves of positivity can start being made.
Yeah, exactly, man. So how is it going for you right now? Because you're from the United States, and I can imagine like, we just talked about it a little bit, like it's kind of weird to not be impacted on a business level yourself that much.
Yeah.
At the same time, as your whole person, you see a lot of things around you happening.
Right.
So how's that for you?
Right. So with the current like pandemic crisis, there's a lot of talk on businesses are shutting down and people are uncertain economically in the next couple of months. And, you know, it's really crazy to see. But the beauty of the digital economy that we're in today, Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, richest man on the earth today, he says that we're in day one of the internet. If there's 365 days in a year, he says of the year of the internet, we're still in day one. And that's because right now there's a revolution happening. People are finding out how to, you know, make a pretty penny, make a lot more money than they were ever making in the traditional world, you know, with a 9-to-5 job and going to college, all that, by simply just taking their passions, understanding what they're good at, and putting those together into an offer to help other people. Mm. And so like internet usage right now with this pandemic is up by 30%. The clients that I have that I personally advertise for on Facebook, our ad costs are down by like half because many people are online right now. Many people are trying to figure out a solution right now. Many people are realizing that, you know, the way of life, you know, last 5, 10, 20 years is not here anymore. And we're going into a new era. So what I see a lot, you know, some people interpret it as tragedy. I see change. I see a transformation happening. And so it's really the perspective and how willing are you to ride the wave of that change, or are you going to be more the person who'll be dragged kicking and screaming into it?
Yeah, that gives it like a perspective, right? And at the same time, we talked before as well. So if you have a business now that is not fully like online or not at all, maybe, like what would be, if you could give a very broad consult, what would be like your first steps to go for if you're just like starting out online with your business, you know?
Like within this time?
Yeah, exactly, man. Like right now, in applicable.
Right. So what I would do is I think, so how I like to live my life is by a concept that I've taken from Peter Drucker, who is a Harvard MBA and professor, and he wrote the book Managing Oneself. In that book, he talks about a concept called strength-based management. And what is strength-based management? Well, a lot of people wonder, like, what's the best way to manage my time? Should I stay up all night hustling, or should I just work like a really hard hour, like once a day, and then, you know, see what happens as that stacks up? Strength-based management is all about finding out what you're good at and then spending 80% of your time doing what you're good at. Yeah. So Ray Dalio, he was one of the only investors that got out like no scratches with his hedge fund during the 2008 crisis, where everything tanked in America. And this guy, he's known as the Steve Jobs is investing. He's very rich too, around $24 billion, I think. He manages his entire company and what he does every day by knowing the results of his Myers-Briggs test. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with Myers-Briggs listening to this interview, but Myers-Briggs is a test that was made by, it's based off the psychology of Carl Jung, who is a psychoanalyst in the early 20th century. And basically rates you on 4 categories, whether you're extroverted or introverted, whether you're thinking or intuitive, and then feeling and thinking. I don't remember the exact descriptors, but it basically tells you like, what's your personality? My personality is an ENFP. I'm extroverted, I'm intuitive, I'm feeling, and I'm like prospecting. I always think of a lot of ideas. So, you know, I would recommend people like take the time to get to know yourself. Go take personality tests. From the results of those tests, figure out what you're good at. With my test, I'm intuitive and I'm extroverted. So that's something that begs very well for public speaking, coaching, making videos, getting on interviews like this. I'm someone who has a gift for speaking and being bold and having meaningful conversations with people. So I think the first thing people need to do is figure out who they are, and personality tests are a great place to start. Once they figure out their strengths, they should then figure out, well, what do I enjoy doing? What are my interests in? Maybe you have an interest in golf. Okay. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to like go become Tiger Woods or like a professional golf player to make money with that. But maybe you're someone who is extroverted and intuitive like me. And so maybe you can start a business coaching people in golf who are not really that good, that, you know, that just want to get into the sport. Maybe you can make a course of like showing like how to better your swing in golf, right? And you can sell that for just $100 online. And you get a couple customers, you get a couple referrals with that. Before you know, you have $1,000. You have $1,000. Now you have a budget to advertise that course, and you can get it out to millions of people. You sell that course, you sell 1,000 of those courses at like $100. You have $100,000 now. You're a 6-figure earner. So just to give you like a really basic idea of how you can get started, figure out who you are. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Then play to those strengths in tandem with what you're interested in. And then simply craft an offer and find the people you want to be working with. If you want to be teaching,
exactly.
golf, find people who are interested in golf.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Kevin, thanks for the tips, man. Thanks for the tips. So what gets you really fired up now, right? Like what really gets you going in the morning?
What gets me going in the morning? I'm someone who loves momentum and loves freedom and traveling and new experiences. So what gets me going in the morning is knowing that like there's a new day and the burden of freedom is on me. With how I've shaped my life to not be like needing to answer to anyone, being able to like set my own schedule with my clients, being able to just wake up and I have a notification on my phone of, you know, a retainer from a client coming in. What gets me going is the burden of freedom I've given myself. And to give you an idea of what that is, when I was 19, I graduated high school and I just knew college was a scam. I just looked at the numbers. I was like, this is not what I want to do. And so what I did instead is I bought a one-way ticket to Budapest, Hungary, just because I didn't know that place existed. I just found it on the globe and I was like, all right, I'm flying there. I flew there, Guido, and I was there and it was full of a bunch of white people that didn't speak English. It total culture shock. And it was like the first day of my life where I was like, I'm completely on my own and it's up to me what I make of my life. And since that day, I've just been carving that life out that I want. And so what gets me going is the opportunity for new experience. Like, do I want to wake up today and buy a ticket to Hawaii and go hang out there? Do I want to wake up today and go take a salsa dancing class downtown and go meet some people, learn salsa? Do I want to just sit in bed and read a good book or watch a movie or a documentary? That's fascinating. Um, what gets me going is the freedom I have and knowing that the only thing I need to do to sustain that freedom is keep helping people, which is already so fun and fulfilling for me. You know, the clients that I work with today, because like we talked about, I'm very specific who I want to work with. I'm not working with just small family business owners now. I'm working with people who have values that I align with and have passions and interests and missions that I want to help prop up. And so whenever my clients call me, I look forward to it. And whenever they schedule in a time to talk or whenever they have questions, I look forward to it. And we hop on the call, we have a good time. And by the end of it, we've done something productive. And that's all I need to do is just spend a solid 5-6 hours per week just talking to these people, helping them make moves. And all the while I get to choose how I want to live my life and how I want to continue helping other people in the ways that I can.
Yeah. Interesting, Kev. Thanks for sharing. So that looks like, yeah, your designing plan to get the lifestyle you want is like already for a while going. Right? So we talked about it. What are things to do? Figure out yourself. Do you have like any other insights like on goal setting or building out your vision?
Yes. I mean, when it comes to goal setting, the best thing I love to do is reverse engineer someone who has a life that I really admire. So, let's say I admire Tony Robbins, for example. And I admire how many people he helps, and I admire how much money he has. I admire that he has a great relationship, like he loves his wife. Well, if I can see that in someone, or maybe it's just someone like down the street, like some guy named Chad, he's living an awesome life. And I'm like, man, how does Chad live that life? Well, simply what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, if I can go up to them, I'm just going to ask them, how did you achieve this? What are books you most recommend reading? What's the best investment under $100 you've ever made in your life? Asking pointed questions that, if given the answer, you can immediately put into your life. Like Tony Robbins has achieved all these things. He has a mentor named Jim Rohn, because this is someone I have tried to reverse engineer before. I'll go listen to what his mentor is saying. The same guy who helped Tony Robbins become who he is. And that, by osmosis, is going to help me get closer to what Tony is, because Tony has a situation that I want to have.
Yeah.
Right. So finding people you respect and whose lives you admire, and then simply asking questions or doing your own research and finding out how did they achieve that.
Interesting share, man. Thanks for sharing. Kevin, so we talked about as well, like you get really fired up from seeing already what's going on, right? Like you're an entrepreneur that is like not relying on the local economy.
Right.
You see a lot of local businesses collapse around you in the US. And like, how do you feel about that, man? Like, is there something that you think like, I should do something, or is there something, what's happening there?
Right. I mean, is there something I can do? I mean, the simplest answer would be like, should I donate money to one local business of my choice?
Yeah, that's different, right? Like you cannot help everyone.
Right. Like that's what I would see is like addressing the symptom, right? Like there's in like holistic health, we have causes and we have symptoms, right? If I have like a stomach ache and I want to solve that, well, I could go take tummy tablets that would get rid of the pain. But once that effect wavered off, then I'd get the pain again. So I want to figure out what the cause is. If I'm having a stomach ache, my diet is probably bad and I need to change that. So, a lot of people and their businesses are collapsing right now. So, what can I do to help with that? Well, I think the only thing we can do is figure out what are skills that we can learn, or what are skills that we have that are evergreen and that we can share with other people that can help them better their lives. So, right now I can't go to the mall and go buy some clothes from H&M, but But is that what I really need? Is that something I need to do to continue my life? No, what I need to do is like be able to eat food, drink water, have a place to sleep. And then for fulfillment, I need to, have relationships that I care about, have people that surround me that love me. I need something that I do that is fulfilling, that helps other people. And I need a sense of purpose. When you boil it down, these are all the things that people really need. Look at Maslow's hierarchy. So what I'm doing right now hasn't changed.
No.
I'm doing the same thing I was doing before this. And the reason why is because the way I help people is based around evergreen concepts and evergreen philosophy, things that are independent of the chaos of the world. People are always going to want to improve their health. People are always going to want to improve their wealth. People are always going to want to improve their relationships. And as the old adage goes, knowledge is power. So me getting on this interview with you right now and having the chance to share all these things that I've learned that have helped me keep stable in a time like this is the best we can really do. Now, at this point, it's on the people who are looking for a new solution. Are they going to listen? Are they going to pick it up? Are they going to pay attention? Or are they not going to learn their lesson? Charlie Munger, he was Warren Buffett's partner in investing, over $94 billion between those two. Or no, they both have $94 billion separately, I should say. He says that the biggest motivation for people is either the carrot or the stick. The carrot is a sign of pleasure. The stick is a sign of pain, because people are either motivated by their pleasure or they're motivated by their pain. And he says that most people are motivated by their pain. They only change once they're hit with the stick. But if we could instead be motivated by the carrot, just wanting to achieve more pleasure and not needing a reminder of pain to do that, then we'll always stay a good distance away from the stick, heading towards the carrot. So.
Yeah. And that carrot for you is then the fulfilling, helping others with fulfill their lives as well.
Helping others fulfill their lives, paying attention to my health, paying attention to, my wealth, paying attention to my relationships, and doing what inspires me, like travel and new experiences and things that make life worth living, and just understanding that about myself and optimizing for it.
Optimizing that as well. Yeah, man, Kev. So thanks for that. Thanks for that advice. To give some words, man, especially also with the UN and the situation you talked about, the new cryptocurrency coming on. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah. So this is where we're getting to totally kook territory that I'm not afraid to jump into at all. So. No. What I see happening right now is I think this is an entirely orchestrated thing. I don't see this as some organic situation where just some crazy thing came out of China and just shut down the entire world. I don't think so. I mean, even with the numbers they tell us, the mortality rate of this is like 0.09%. Like the only people who are really dying from this are like the elderly, the very sick, and then I guess newborns. And then even then, the cases of people dying are very liberally reported on. Like someone will have a case of pneumonia for their whole life and then they'll die. And then they'll just say, oh, it was, the C virus. It was what's going on right now. Someone will have had symptoms and then they die in a car crash and they'll say, oh, well, it was C virus. Like it literally gets that ridiculous if you look into it.
Yeah. So it gets just like the blame for everything now.
Yeah. So when I look at this, I see a very clear attack on the normal working man, the average Joe, the kind of person that makes up, 80% of the population on the planet. They're shutting down your business. They're not allowing you to socialize with people. They're not letting you go outside. They're constantly, sending you fear programming on your screen of choice, whether it's a TV or phone. And they're telling you to do things that actually suppress your immune system, not going outside, covering your mouth and your nose, washing your hands. There's a lot of like synthetic crap in most soaps and hand sanitizers that actually like suppress hormones and testosterone. And they're all doing it for what? A flu. that has no known symptom that's any different from any other flu we've ever had in the past. So my theory that I was sharing with you before the show, Guido, is I believe in the next year they're going to, well, I believe that since all these economies are crashing right now, and then they're also printing out more money on a fiat-based currency, inflation is going way up. The worth of everyone's dollar is going way up. Businesses are failing and falling by the wayside. I believe what they're going to do is I believe the UN is going to come out and insist once and basically pretend to be like a saving grace and say, hey, we're going to forgive every country of their debt, but everyone needs to forfeit their national currency and join a global currency that will be a cryptocurrency, something that is electronic and truly is not based on anything, something that we cannot count and need to rely on machines for. And if you look at what Bill Gates is saying right now, this freaking nerd who was appointed king of the world all of a sudden, he's saying that if you are not, he says that the economy will begin to slightly open up in a couple months, but he says things will not go back to normal until every single person on earth is vaccinated. He said this in interviews. And he also said that they're looking at putting in microchips and like tattoos on people who have been vaccinated to know. And airline companies are saying that you're going to have to start having a vaccination like verification seal on your passport to be allowed to travel across borders. So I'm seeing a world where we are forced to switch to another currency. We're not allowed to, and if we don't get a vaccine, we won't be allowed to join that new economy, and we won't be allowed to travel and leave the places that are attached to this new economy.
Summing it up right there, brother.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like if you sum it up in that way, like I heard a doctor saying the other day, like he couldn't even get viruses out of a computer. How will he ever get viruses out of your body with this?
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. So, Kev, a last question for you. Yeah, and also regarding the situation, like if you know, you would know in Hungary, like a couple of years ago, when you just flew out for the first time alone out of the States, that was
right.
If you would know then what you would know now, what could you possibly like have done different? That like you failed sometimes, you did some things. Like what could you have done different?
Quite a few things. So in regards to business, so part of my Myers-Briggs test, which I recommend everyone go do, just Google 16personalities.com and go take your test. It takes like 20 minutes. My Myers-Briggs type, which is ENFP, I'm a very creative type person, and I really like to make works that are original. If I could just bring an awareness to my need for creativity and put it aside when it comes to starting my business, I would have gotten a lot farther. Because what a big thing I do in business right now is like helping people do storytelling, taking someone's message and clarifying it and making it powerful and that it really resonates with their ideal client. I spent a long time trying to create a business model that was original to me and that no one else had done before. And I wasted definitely a couple years at least just trying to test things that people before me, people who have already achieved what I want to achieve in life, have already tested and have already found that it doesn't work and that they all use like a specific model that does work. And I ignored that for a while because I wanted to be original, right? But once I finally humbled myself and invested in mentorship from people who have achieved a life that I want to emulate, and then I just listened to what they said. I did what they said. I still got to inject my own personality, my own passions, my own abilities into what they were teaching me as far as like models and how to go about making money online and achieve a life of financial freedom. Things changed drastically for me once I was able to humble myself to do that and listen to people smarter than me and more experienced than me. And so if there's anything I could do, man, if I could go back 3 years ago and tell myself that, I can only imagine, how much more abundant my life would be. knowing how abundant it is already.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think like there's also like a great advice in there for people. Like we heard it before, but with this story that you attach to it, like don't try to invent the wheel yourself.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it is something in the same kind of path that you want to walk. Like it's probably not exactly the same, but it's looking similar. So you can learn from others, from mistakes from others as well.
Right. Pablo Picasso says, learn the rules like a pro so that you can break them like an artist. So until you know the rules like a pro, and a professional by definition is someone who makes money, don't try to be an artist. You can be an artist once you're already a badass and making money. That's how I like to.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense, man. Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's wonderful to speak with a guy from the States that has such a different mindset. Is there any last message that you want to share?
I mean, just on the theme of what we're sharing.
Yeah.
One, again, thanks for having me. Two, one of my heroes in business, Steve Jobs, he says that if you don't do something you love, then you're absolutely destined to fail. So before you just try to make a swing at making money, take time to get to know yourself, understand yourself on a physical level, a mental level, and a spiritual level. And once you have an intimate understanding of that, that's where you can build a strong business on a strong foundation, that strong rock of actually knowing who you are, what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and how you can help people.
Awesome, man.
Do what you love.
Awesome, man. Kev, thank you so much. Have an amazing afternoon. For you, it's night, so I'll also shut it off, the last conversation of the day. And we'll speak in the future, Kev. Have a beautiful day in the States. It's like afternoon there, I said already. So kevinconsults.com, right?
kevinconsults.com. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So if people can find you anywhere else, like what's the platform to go to for you?
You can find me on Facebook, my Facebook page at Kevin Barry, Kevin Consults, and you can find me on Instagram at Dudeberry.
Instagram at Dudeberry. Cool, man. Cool. So inspiring to speak to you from all the way from the Netherlands to the States. So we're shutting it off here. Hey, have a blessed day and see you another time, man.
You too, brother. Have a great one.
Bye-bye. Oh, let's see. Bang.